What is up, everybody? My name is Puns, as always, back again with another daily deck tag. This time, we are going over the 7/16 live balance update balance changes. Now, these are the balance changes after the results came in from ECQ DOA Live, and we do see quite a few changes to these cards. So let's go through one by one, and let's see what they did. All right, starting first off, they have Trick Shot Ruffian. Trick Shot Ruffian no longer gives lifesteal, which is very interesting. Trick Shot Ruffian has caused quite the shakeup in Throne since release. It's a powerful tool to give Justice decks a huge burst of damage and health. While the change were removing the lifesteal element and trying to give non-Justice aggressive decks a better chance at winning a race against Justice decks. Yeah, you don't say that card had some problems. But that's certainly interesting like that. But also ties into our next change. Crown Watch Press Gang is now 5 Justice, was 4 Justice. Crown Watch Press Gang has gotten more powerful over time as we've created more strong 1-cost units. And now with the ability to fetch up Trick Shot Ruffian as well as Crown Patroller, we felt it was time to increase the opportunity costs of the incredible selection that Press Gang can provide. Okay. Now, I feel like these two are kind of together. I feel like Crown Watch Press Gang was actually fine at 4 if they just made Trick Shot Ruffian cost 2. Because, as we saw with the Mercado decks rise to prominence in the last ECQ, I feel like these two were kind of... Crown Watch Press Gang died for Trick Shot Ruffian's sins, as it were. I don't know. I feel like this is... I feel like you make Trick Shot Ruffian 2 and reduces lifesteal. It's still a good card. It's not instantly tutorable with Crown Watch Press Gang. You can't just... Essentially like having 8 copies of that card in the deck. Which is kind of crazy you'd be able to fetch it up like that. I think that's the change they should have made. But we're going with what they have. I don't know if they'll still see play at 5. But... because no longer fits into even shell either. But I don't know. I think that the Press Gang died for Ruffian's sins. But at least they did something about it. At least they're like, I'm not going to do anything about it. But now we see Bullet Shaper. Now 3 Fire Justice 3/3 was 2 Fire Justice 2/3. Bullet Shaper is an efficient way of gaining additional influence on Mercado decks. With how important influence has become with Argent Depths, we wanted to pull back on how early and easily Bullet Shaper grants influence. Solid change. I like they also gave it an attack through there, making it so you don't feel as bad playing a 3-mana 2/3, but I don't know. I still think it still even has its second ability, which is very, very good, being able to get that influence, get that power, just discarding a spell, which works well with things like treasure troves that you get off, like Trick Shot Ruffian through there. It's just all around a very good card, and I think it'll still see play as a at 3 power 3/3. Let me get to Oopsot the Savior. Now, Oopsot is a very interesting change here. We're looking at now a 6/4 and silent single faction units in the enemy player's hand. Was a 6/5 and silenced all units. Oh man. Oopsot serves an important role in the metagame, giving players tools to interact with some difficult to prevent summon abilities, like the aforementioned Trick Shot Ruffian. With this change, we're hoping to keep the counterplay aspect while giving it some more clearly defined weaknesses. Yeah, you don't think it didn't have any weaknesses? Like, getting that 5 influence on turn 4 was actually even pretty easy to do. Especially with the new double faction in power. Yeah, I like this change. It doesn't completely cut the nuts off Oopsot Savior, but overall, I think it's still very strong, and it's a 6/4 for 4, which is very good as well, and has that relative ability when they play unit, you gain a life. I don't think this is going to slow Oopsot down at all, to be honest. I think it just makes it less broken. Now Curtain Call. Now a 3 Shadow instead of 2 Shadow. Critical is an incredibly strong tool to help Xenian decks catch up on health, while also helping them to maintain a presence on board. At 2 costs, we've seen issues how efficiently it can be held up to blank opponent's removal, enabling game-ending combos. You don't think? While we like the gameplay in general, we want to pull back on efficiency and gain aggressive decks a little more room to breathe. You don't say. Well, it's certainly a buff. Well, it's a nerf, but I think the card is still really, really good. I guess it slows it down a little bit and makes you have to hold 3 instead of 2. But yeah, I think this is it's a nerf, but I don't think it was enough. I could see it getting nerfed again, because it's not that much of a nerf, increasing its cost by 1. It's still, don't get me wrong, it's still good. I'm so very glad they did it. I just don't think it's that mind-altering of a... I don't think it's going to change the playability of Curtain Call that much. Then we have Wasteland Broker, now a 4/4. So 4/5. Wasteland Broker has proven to be an incredibly popular option for all kinds of decks to add some market access. With a powerful market effect and a durable 4/5 body, it risks becoming too ubiquitous, so reducing its health a little bit to try to encourage a greater range of viable options. Okay. Very subtle, but it now dies to check. I guess that's something. Then we have Eager Deputy. Now a 0/1 was a 0/2. Eager Deputy has made its mark as a greatly early play with Plunder, helping ensure that players have the cards they need. However, she's been a little too reliable of a tool for fire-based aggressive decks and expeditions, so we're taking a point of health away to make her a bit easier to deal with. Okay. I mean, sure. I've never really liked this card very much. I guess it has Plunder. I've never been all that much of a fan of this card, to be honest. I think there are just better options. Yeah, I didn't see it, to be honest. I know a lot of people played it, but I felt like there were better options they could be playing over, at least the 1-drop slot, over Eager Deputy. It seems like it was very good if he opened with it, but like at the mid-game, I guess it still had Plunder on top of it as well, but I don't know. I was never very high on this card to begin with, so. But then Grazer, now 5, time, Corrupted 5, was 4, time, Corrupted 6. Fast builds and ambush units make for dynamic games in big moments, but too many of them can bring a risk of paralyzing players trying to attack into open power. Gentle Grazer ratchets that up with its summoning effect, bringing along another card for attackers to worry about. And while we haven't seen the significant difference in win rates between even and Golem and non-even Grazer decks, the combination can certainly get repetitive. Along with cost increase, we are lowering its corrupted cost to 5 to move more power from an early ambush to a chump block to a source of value for time decks. Now, I don't agree with this at all. I think Grazer was absolutely fine at 4. This is the one nerf that really I don't get. I don't get why there was a problem with Grazer at 4. It had its purpose. It wasn't even played in most time decks anyway. Because, I mean, if any 4 power card you're going to check, it's Cat. The relic removal Cat. Because, I mean, 4 mana, 3/5, gain 3 health, or destroy attachment is just such a good ability. I mean, Grazer is good as well. And I'm considering dusting mine, because I don't think it sees play at 5, honestly. Probably going to do it anyway, but it makes me sad, because I really like this card. And I feel like Grazer got absolutely unfairly targeted in these nerfs. Yeah. It doesn't work at 5, honestly. On 4, it was good curve. It was a nice way to curve out, but I don't know. I don't get this one. I don't get, honestly, I don't get it, but yeah. Now let's check out some buffs. Now, Cautious Traveler is a 3/2, was a 2/2, still will not see play. I mean, maybe they want Sentinel Traveler to be. I know they they really want Sentinel Tribal to be a thing, but I don't know. I still think this thing will see me play. Pyro Knight, the ultimate, now cost 5. What used to cost 6. Still don't think it'll see play, but I don't know. But it also brings us Coal Scrounger. Now, Coal Scrounger, will now be 2 fire, was 3 double fire. Now, this is actually pretty big. This card was actually seeing quite a bit of play in a Grenadin and Focus deck. And at 2, this thing's actually kind of crazy. I'm excited to pick up Grenadins again. Maybe we can bring back that the old Scrappy Hour deck. Because that deck was a bunch of fun. But it was also revolving around Grenadins, and having a 2-cost Coal Scrounger is kind of crazy. And I don't think it's busted. I'm excited to play with it. I think that it is a buff that the Grenadin decks needed. But still probably won't see play as long as Blightmoth exists. I'm just saying. Blightmoth needs a nerf. Why? I know it's not seeing play currently, but in Expedition especially, Blightmoth needs a nerf. Please get rid of that card. Because it gives... It just basically discourages tribal decks. And... I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't be discouraging tribal decks at this point. But... Then we have Ancient Defenses. Now 3 fire was 4 fire. Going back to... I think they're really starting to push and encourage the archetype. And I just... I mean, it's better. It does something when it's played. It's a nice little change. I just don't think it impacts the board that much. Because, sure, now you have your Sentinels doing 2 extra damage, which is nice. But I don't think you'll see... I don't think this is the real push that Sentinels needed. Just a Cautious Traveler. But I could be wrong. We might have to build it and brew it to find out if Sentinels are finally a thing with these 2 buffs. But also some other cards they gained in the set as well. But I don't know. Then we have Form Bend, now 1 primal. What's 2 primal? I like this change. I think that this card really wasn't seeing any play. It's quasi removal, but it really doesn't have a home. Except, I know that somebody at Direwolf really wants a transform deck to be a thing. They really, really want a transform deck. And there might be pieces for it. The pieces actually might be there for it, but I don't think overall it's there. But then we see Kimmy Expedition Guide, one of my favorite cards. Now a 1/5 was a 1/4. I love this thing. It makes it easier to attack with as a 1/5. I just love this card, and I'm glad that they gave it some love. I don't think it's busted or anything as a 1/5, but I might play with it more. Let me see. Hibernating Behemoth is now a 6-time 5/5. Was a 7-time 4/4, but that's a pretty huge buff. With also the ability, it gets +2/+2, and you gain 2 health when it's drawn. It's pretty solid, becoming a 6 power 7/7. And you get the little buff of health. Not entirely sure if this will move the needle towards dinosaurs, because I mean dinosaurs need some love, but especially if you can play at reduced costs, with the dinosaur lords in play. We'll see. I love dinosaurs as an archetype and playing around, especially with something like Kimmy. Like Kimmy and Hibernating Behemoth give dinosaurs a little more fuel. Even though I wish she'd made something other than explorers when she attacked. I feel like that would be... I don't know, making 1/1 explorers really doesn't do anything. But other than the card that when you play a explorer reduce the cost of dinos in your hand, I think that's a card that does that. Or maybe it's the other way around. I'm missing out like that. But make some more about dinos. Why can't this make one dinosaurs? I don't know. Little tiny dinosaurs. But finally, we have a change to Garrett Throne Guardian. It's 3 strengths when something would be silenced. Still not playable. I have the deck. I have the Garrett deck. It is built, but it's just not very good. I mean, you kind of want things to be silenced. I don't know. I don't think there's a way of breaking him, but unless you do things like God, what is that card that patches Vions to like silence other units, but instead he gets a big buff. I wish he gained health as well. Honestly, I don't think he'd be busted if you gained health as well. Make him give +3/+1 when that happened. What is wrong with giving him a health boost? I know he has endurance, which means he can block and attack very well, but I feel like if they really wanted to push this card, give him health boosts. Yeah. I still think it's what they're lazy. We like to give some loved underplayed cards from the past, in particular with the focus on some of the less played tribal synergies. He's a soldier. Soldier's like the one faction that has no like synergies. Like there is no soldier tribal. I guess there's other problem factions that I'm thinking of that don't really have. Like there's no cat tribal, unlike in Magic right now, where quite a bit of cat synergies and dog synergies too. Love the cat and dog synergies. But overall, other than the gentle Grazer, which I feel like I can't stress enough, I feel was absolutely screwed by these. I don't think this was entirely necessary. I think these are pretty solid nerfs. And tomorrow I have to play around. We might have to build the trade hat to see if we can make Sentinels work. I've got something in the works. We'll save it for tomorrow's daily deck tech. But thank you so much, everybody. I've been Puns. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at WhatWesWatches. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.